All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode or segment of Vital Refinement. I'm Eareoke, and in Vital Refinement, I talk about all things wellness and self care and the way we can make sure we maintain our bodies, our mind, and our spirit. I hope that you have been enjoying these series videos and you're getting something out of it so far. Today, I'm going to be talking about personal values to even expand a little bit more on the videos that I posted about the self care bingo and the personal prescription. So if you still can't figure out, where to start with your self care bingo card, maybe you ask yourself those reflective questions regarding your self prescription, but you're still stuck. I want to talk a little bit about personal values. Now, I'm not going to exactly guide you completely about how to discover your personal values, but I will give a kind of a synopsis of what personal values are. So, personal values are those that are unique to us that we use as pillars or as cornerstones in our life that guides us. It's our principles on how we navigate life as an individual. I feel that in America or in most countries, I guess, a lot of us are really influenced by other people's values or other sources of values. So when we're speaking about personal values, we're distinguishing that between family values, religious values, societal values, and the list goes on, right? Our friends' values, our political values, our educational values, all that stuff, right? Those things are still important to us if we truly, truly, truly identify with them, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a religious value is going to align with your personal value, right? Or your family values are going to align with your personal values because they're unique to you. And these are just other things that you may identify with or identify as, and you're part of these communities, but personal values are unique to you as an individual. So that's the first thing I want to say. Second thing, a way to figure out your personal values, you want to think about how do you see yourself? How do you want to present yourself to the world? How do you see yourself? Like, what is your vision on how you want to deal with certain circumstances? Or what is your vision on how you want to be led in life? A lot of people say that love is a personal value of theirs and they want to lean into love and they want love to lead them in different situations, to help them overcome certain circumstances, to help them be a positive light in people's life. Like they want to, be recentered by love, and how they receive things, perceive things, interact with things, approach different situations and things, right? Some people say money could be their personal value, right? Money means a lot to them. They feel like money can solve a lot of their issues, which could possibly be true, right? So maybe working really hard, or trying to figure out how not to work really hard, but have these other incomes, work smarter, not harder, things like that. But somehow their life, their world, their lifestyle is kind of maybe revolving around money. And then the other side of having money as a personal value can, in my opinion, can be pretty negative, right? You're only worried about flashy things to prove yourself to of a certain status, right? So you're worried about certain expensive clothes or eateries or a lifestyle, right? And if that's really you, be true to you, but money is a personal value, right? For me myself, I pretty sure I spoke about this in one of my previous videos, but a few of my personal values are peace, um, faith, as in like my spirituality, comfort, which I feel like peace and comfort kind of goes hand in hand. Um, I like to say health is my personal value, but that's where the conflict comes in it, right? So I would say health is a personal value of mine. Like I spoke about in many of my videos, I really like learning about wellness and how we can best take care of ourselves. But I get into it's a hard time for me to apply some of these things that I learned. So putting them into application. And so it makes me question like, well, is health really a personal value of yours if you know all the things and you know better but you're not doing better? And of course, that's something I need to work out within myself, and evaluate why are these type of intrusive thoughts are arising, and where I can improve in to make sure I am living up to that personal value. And that's where we come into how we figure out our personal values, right? So typically what I do for myself and with clients and friends, whatever, whoever I'm discussing personal values with, there I provide them a list. There's plenty of lists online that you can go to. Some lists have 10 values, some lists have 128 values, whatever. um, I typically go through and find a few different types of lists and really distinguish between what's standing out to me, what is speaking to me. And then once I come up with like my top 15 or top 20, I try to narrow it down from there to top 10, and then narrow it down from 5 to 3. But 5 is like where you want to land at ultimately, right? So that's one way to go about it. I mean, that's the easiest way to go about it. But during this time that you're breaking it down and trying to get to your primary 5 values, personal values, you have to have some questions to reflect on, right? You have to figure out, well, what is a value to you? We know personal values are our principles, our pillars of how we navigate life and how we perceive life and how what we want out of life, right? So you want to think about that, but you also want to think about what is aligning with the life that you want for yourself or you have for yourself. So when it comes to personal values, you really want to check in with yourself about if this is a personal value or is this a religious value that may not even align with me or my safety or my health or what you want in life, or is this a family value, or is this a societal value, whatever, or is this a sorority value, whatever the case, right? So you want to ask yourself those things, and that's another way to go about it, because people might say family, I value charity, I value um, diligence. You can say those things, but then you think about, okay, am I pulling this value from my family values? And it's okay if you do pull your personal values from your family values if you absolutely align with them and they absolutely agree with you. But it's off tilted when you think you have your personal values, but they're actually your family values, and then you're lost. Like, there's nothing truly connecting you as an individual to them. That's kind of what you think you're supposed to be doing because this is how my family raised me on, right? And so you want to have that conversation with yourself. Is this really my values, or is this my family values that are expected for me to live out, right? And that's the third thing you want to consider. So when you pick your personal values, um, you want to make sure that you're living out those personal values. And for me, I learned a lesson on this in college, in my undergrad, where the professors talk about, okay, we have personal values, if you really know your personal values, but are you living them out? And the best way to reach happiness, or the closest you can get to happiness, is having a fulfilled life through your personal values. So if your personal value is health, I'm gonna use that one, but you're not eating well, you're not having regular body movement, maybe you're overindulging in some type of substance, maybe you're not seeking therapy, or you're having that reflective time, or you're not expressing yourself or relieving your body of stress or your mind of stress. Is health really your personal value? And if it is, and you're doing these things, they're not aligned, it's only going to cause you to be less happy. It's going to put you on the opposite end of that spectrum, right? So the best way, or one of the ways you can claim happiness or receive happiness or experience happiness or get the closest to experience happiness, is to live out your values, to make sure that what you're actually doing, what you're actively doing in your life every day, is aligning with those personal values. Because when they don't align, you're unhappy, you're sad, you're depressed, something's missing, you're a void. It feels like your life doesn't have purpose, or you're not fulfilling any of your needs or your desires, right? So that's the biggest part of personal values that I like to really emphasize, is that, okay, now you figure out your personal values, so you need to figure out how you're going to make sure you're living through this, because there's no point. The whole point of personal values is to help you guide you throughout life and to fulfill your purpose and needs in life. But if you're not doing the things that align with the values, there's no point of even knowing what your values are, because you're going to just be a mess anyways. So I want to encourage you today to learn what your personal values are. And if they do align with your family values or your religious values or societal values, that's fine, but really make sure that they're true to who you are and your needs, right? Second thing, I want to encourage you, once you figure out what those values are, please do your best to live by them. Yes, it's hard. Life comes up. We are faced with different choices every day, and we have to decide how to prioritize ourselves, how to prioritize our values. And when we're in these hard circumstances and we have conflict, like, how can we lean into our values, right? If your value is integrity, okay, you're being faced with a situation that you can easily not act in integrity. How can you remind yourself to act in integrity? Because from there, you're going to feel shameful or guilty or unhappy with your choice and how you, reacted or responded in that situation. And then it's going to just cause so much more stress. So please, please, please learn your personal values and then figure out ways you can live out those personal values to align with what you need and what you want out of life, right? A way that you can do this, like I said, you can find lists online. There's a few worksheets that I've used in the past from a particular website. I can link it down below. And then also, you can figure this out in a guided prompt in my journal.me self-discovery journal. Like I mentioned in my last video, it's a self-discovery journal. It was my last journal I released in my YFM Inspires series, and it will be linked down below as well. It's a PDF prompt, so you pay for it. It's sent to your email. You can download it as a PDF. You can use it as a guide as you journal and go through these different self-discovery prompts and activities to learn more about yourself, get to know yourself, figure out what works for you, figure out what morning routine works for you, what your personal values are. There's a lot of resources in there regarding other things, personal discovery around your sexuality, around your general personality. I'm really big on personality tests. I know some of them are biased, some of them don't have the greatest history, but there's some truth in it, okay? I'm gonna stand on that. There's still some truth in there. And so I use that as a resource sometimes just to feel seen and heard and recognized and understood. And like, I'm not alone, or like that I'm unique. Of course, we're all unique. We all have unique strengths and talents and gifts and stuff like that. But sometimes you feel like no one gets you. And so I think some of it, when I take these personality tests, I feel like someone gets me. But anyways, it'll be linked down below with the prompts and the resources included. And I hope you check it out. And hopefully that can guide you on figuring out your personal values, so you can figure out your personal prescription and then make your self-care bingo card. I know I kind of worked backwards with all this, but after I presented the self-care bingo card, I was like, what if people don't ever know where to begin? Like, I'm just telling them, like, put these 6 things down somewhere and make sure you do them every day, or try to do, 3 out of the 6 every day. And some people were probably like, I don't ever know what those things are that I need in my day, what those core things are. So that's why I'm coming to you with these last 2 videos: personal prescription and now your personal values. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, please like the video. Be sure to comment down below what you got out of it or what you want to see more of on my channel. Definitely share with me what your personal values are and how you went about finding out what your personal values are. What really made you, helped you come up with your personal values. And also share with your friends or relatives that you feel like maybe feeling lost right now, or unsure of themselves, or they're feeling maybe a void in their lives. Knowing your personal values and what your personal prescriptions are a key to helping you fill those voids, right? Sometimes we can't fulfill a void because we don't have the privilege or the access to certain things. But there's ways around it to fulfill some of that void, right? And I feel like this is one of those ways. It's very much something you can do on your own with the least amount of resources: yourself, your thoughts, your heart, your spirit, God, a pen and pencil, maybe, and a piece of paper. Right? So, yeah, share, like, subscribe. Please subscribe, and comment down below. And I hope you have the rest of your day to think about these things, reflect, love on yourself, love on your loved ones, and take care. I hope you feel empowered, enlightened, and embraced by my videos. And I hope to have you watch the next one. Take care and God bless.